Welcome to Keep On Pushing TV, guys. This is your host, Devon Harris. And as always, what we do is that we share ideas and insights that are going to challenge you, ideas that are going to inspire you to keep on pushing and in the process, live your absolute best life. Because we want that for you. We want that of you and from you. And I suspect you want the same as well. So you are in the right place. So again, welcome to Keep On Pushing TV. My guest today hails from the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. She started out her career working across many industries: construction, education, advertising, distribution, marine, and retail. But in 2013, she launched, right? She decided to start out her own business as a sales and marketing consultant, a coach, a trainer, and a digital marketing strategist. Her initial focus was on clients across the Caribbean, but now she works with entrepreneurs and middle management as well as C-suite executives, helping them to identify, strategize, and realize company goals. She calls herself a stammering communicator. I call her Debbie Jollie. So I'm excited to be able to welcome Debbie to the show. Debbie, welcome to Keep On Pushing.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here, Devon. Thank you.
Man. It's great to have you. A Trini girl hanging out in the place, as it were.
Yeah.
So Debbie, the term stammering communicator really catches the eye, doesn't it? It's such an oxymoron. People don't normally associate the word stammering with communication. How did that come about?
Okay, well, it's actually quite deliberate, as you said. It's almost like an opposite, right? So persons who stutter are not known to be persons who communicate well, and actually are persons who might shy away from speaking and talking because they don't want that negative attention. So it goes back to childhood. I stammered terribly as a child. I really couldn't string two words together. But I couldn't be a person that liked marketing, the arts, music, and not be able to command my voice. So I got into lecturing, I started teaching, I started to train this voice, but I still think of it as a work in progress a little bit. So I use it as part of my branding, because every time I speak, you might hear it. And so it is a way to debunk all the and demystify all the things about a person who stutters. So I use it as a part of my branding.
Yes, indeed. So I remember when I was in elementary school, my best friend then stuttered really badly. And, it's such a tough thing, especially in the Caribbean, to stutter, because you get teased a lot, and he was teased a lot. And I remember a number of years ago in adulthood, he spoke about just the insecurities that just like surrounded him because of his stuttering. What was life like for you as a stuttering child?
It is tough. It is tough, and you feel invisible, and you in a way. We take a lot of things for granted, and persons who speak fluently don't realize that, hey, for a person who stutters, this is actually a little bit of a crutch, because every time I have to open up my mouth to speak, if I have to speak to my parents, if I have to speak to my friends, it's something that draws a sort of negative attention. So in the beginning, I think a lot of persons who stammer want to interact with persons, but just don't want to speak. So therefore, they find ways in which they can play and have fun without actually speaking. And that and all is, to go through something like that at 4 or 5 or 7 or 9, it's too much of a psychological trauma. So I think from very early on, I was timid, but it was something that I said I realized I need in my life, you need to be able to speak. And so it's a lifelong journey to be able to do things, to get it better and to improve it.
Yeah. It's really interesting because you just spoke about the need to be able to speak and this lifelong journey. And earlier you spoke about commanding your voice. And it's kind of interesting. All these oxymorons are flying out, and this interest in the arts and music and so on. So, first of all, how old were you when you kind of came to the realization that I have to be able to command this voice?
Oh, from very early on, I think maybe um, 7, 6 or 7. You start to go primary school and you realize you're different, and you're getting teased and you don't want to be teased and you want to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so from very early on, the realization is this is, I think perhaps you think about it as an issue or a problem. And for many of us, it has various, it does different things. Some persons might actually just cave in because it's too much. And I always said in my mind, in my little mind at 7, that I want to be able to control this. I want to be able to get over this. And so that's what I always kept pushing.
Yeah. So, so you stutter, you're being teased, and I know how that is growing up in the
Yeah,
Caribbean. As I said, my best friend stuttered as well. Um, and as you said earlier, and I think it's true, a lot of kids would kind of shy away from the situations where they had to use their voice. But here it is
absolutely.
that you develop an interest in the arts and music and later on marketing. So what was it about you think that said, hey, you know what, I stutter, but this is what I want to do?
Uh, it's interesting because it's been a constant battle. And when I look back, I mean, there were times in school where the teacher would call on me to answer a question, but I wouldn't make eye contact because I just don't want to be, I don't want the light on me in that way. Um, but I think, again, because I had a passion for music, a passion for theater, a passion for the creative side, that pull was a lot greater than the fear of, being embarrassed
Mm-hmm.
or, someone laughing. And I think as I got older and I got into secondary school, it wasn't as bad. The teasing had sort of diminished. And I went to all girl Catholic school, so maybe that helped.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that I came into an environment where it was a little more supportive. It wasn't as uh, there wasn't as much teasing, and then I felt that I could really push to do the things I wanted to do.
Yeah. So yeah, you said that your passion was obviously it was greater than the fear, than the perhaps the desire to kind of hide, and that's instructive, I think, to all of us, because a lot of times we face seemingly unsurmountable challenges or just impediments as you were facing.
Yeah,
Um, and we shy away from the challenge of taking on a big dream. But you're right, if we can develop a really strong passion for something, that in itself would override any fears that we have. Do you find in your work today that whether it's with clients or just people or you meet along the way, that they use these challenges, these impediments that they have as a crutch for not wanting to take the leap or the next step?
yeah, sure. I think everybody has, everybody is outfitted with some sort of challenge, something that they have to, I think they have to push past. Some of us do, and some of us don't.
Mm-hmm.
And just for me, I think I saw this world as a very big place. And as I got older, I said to myself, how am I going to interact in school? How am I going to interact in a workplace? If I have to walk into a government office, how am I going to ask? And these things for a person that stutters is a daily challenge.
Challenge.
Because I
Mm-hmm.
remember going into interview and prepping a whole lot. If I have to speak to receptionists, I'm actually rehearsing what I'm going to say before I say it, because it's just like a skin. It's something you just can't get rid of. So I saw it as something that I needed to, I think, manage in order to be able to just live and function in this world. And that is why,
Yeah.
but going back to your question, I think we are all outfitted with the challenge. We have to either use it as a catalyst, or sometimes we just let it suck us in, and we kind of give up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, it's true, and you said something that is, I think, is so powerful, and you don't realize it. You may not realize it, but hey, folks, you, no matter what it is that you're dealing with, you heard what she said. She has an interview, and she practiced. She worked on getting past the obstacle, the impediment, and I think it's really important that we recognize that. Hey, no matter what it is, man, if you decide to do the work to get past it, you have to first of all acknowledge that, hey, this is
Yes.
a challenge, and
Yeah.
this challenge is going to limit me in this particular way if I don't deal with it head on. And so that's what you did, and thank you so much for that example, tremendous example. So you were passionate about the arts, but you ended up in marketing. How did that transition take place?
Okay. I did. I will tell you why the passion started there, because in school, that's one of the first places I realized that you can actually train your voice, and you could be able to manage this voice. Um, when I got into plays and doing plays, and I had to actually memorize lines and say it, the stutter was not as evident, because the brain actually knew the words that were going to come out prior to it coming out of my
Right.
mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So that, with doing that, I realized that, hey, okay, so then it's not as bad. You if you know what you're going to say, then maybe you won't stutter, or you won't stutter as much. Um, and so the theater, that aspect is what really, it kind of it lit that fire in me. So I always did plays in school. I would volunteer to do plays, because I realized it was something, one, fun, two, it really allowed me to master my voice. I had to get on a stage in front of lots of persons, be frightened as hell,
Mm-hmm.
but because I knew the lines, it would actually come out. And again, with each thing that you conquer, there is a certain level of confidence you build, and then you say, okay, that's not so hard. I think I could do
Go
it
to the
again.
next level. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Right.
it started there, but then it evolved. I would like to get back and do some acting again. I've been encouraged to by some local creatives, and that's how I see it. It's all about stretching yourself, and I think getting back into it might stretch some new muscles again. So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so it's not completely gone. It's there.
Yeah. No, so, scared as hell, but yet
Yeah.
you decide to do it. And that's, again, instructive, because I tell people all the time, although I'm a bobsledder, I'm scared of speed and height. And they think I'm pulling their legs because I joke around a lot. But no, I'm not. But what I know in life is that no matter what it is that you strive to achieve, there's going to be a certain amount of fear. And sometimes you're going to be as, scared as hell, as it were.
Yes.
But you still have to make yourself do it.
Do it.
Um, So you, it seems, are always putting yourself in positions, and I can relate to that, where you basically have to perform. You're scared to death,
Yep, that's it. Absolutely.
but you have to perform. So you still have a bad stutter, but you choose to become a lecturer.
Yeah.
Talk us through that.
Right. So when I got into adulthood, when I was about 24, um, I said I needed something else to be able to train the voice, to train it, to manage it. And so I needed to put myself in a position where I would have to speak. So some sort of public speaking. I thought about it as a part-time lecturer, that I would be, I would have classes at least once a week. So which means I have to get in front of a class, and I have to teach. I have to open up my mouth, and I have to speak. And so I applied to some schools, and I got through, and that I think was one of the best things for me. I mean, it's now maybe a 12 to 14-year journey,
Mm-hmm.
speaking at different schools, doing different types of facilitation, different types of students. And I always start by telling them this. You will notice that I stutter, because at times I see, a little look, and persons like they're not sure, they might want to ask me, but they don't know. So I open it up with that. And that, I think, because it's practice. It's practice. It's like riding a bike. I'm going to class every week. I'm going to have to speak to persons. I have to rehearse what it is I have to say to them. And that trained my voice. So I think getting doing something over and over that is difficult actually helped, helped and improved it tremendously.
That's one of the big drawbacks to success for many people. Having the discipline really to do something over and over again, especially if it's difficult, if it's unpleasant,
Yeah.
it's going to expose you.
Yeah.
Um, um, what advice do you have for others? How do you get yourself to do these things over and over again? Things that you don't necessarily want to do.
And you do feel exposed. You feel exposed. I mean, my son is writing essay, and he's feeling anxious. And I know he gets some of that anxiety from me, because I am in that nature. But, I push past the fear. So I think I tell persons that if there is greener pastures on the other side. And the only way for you to really realize your potential, your worth, and what you're capable of is really pushing past that fear. And there's an expression about nothing good comes from your comfort zone. And that's true. Nothing that I've ever wanted came easy. And so the need to do it um, is innate, because I know at the end of it, even let's say I don't land the interview, I don't get the job, I didn't get that opportunity, I feel good because I was able to push past, and I was able to see a new level to myself. I'm saying, okay, you're capable of this, you could do
Right.
this. Yeah.
So you use the analogy of a greener pasture, across the way. I
Yeah.
often use the analogy of a road. Like, you're on one side of the road, and where you are on this side of the road, um, falls way short of what it is that you want and what you think you're capable of. And you're looking across the other side
Mm-hmm.
of the road, and you see the thing that you want. But in order to get there, you have to navigate through some potholes. You have to navigate traffic going in either direction. And you're right, where you
Mm-hmm.
are, it's very comfortable and safe.
Yes. And
The minute,
safe. Yep.
yeah, the minute you step off the curb, you open yourself up to all kind of dangers.
Yes.
Falling in a pothole, getting hit, all of that, right?
All of
Um,
those things.
but you're right. If you don't take the risk of, getting hit by a car, and I mean, it may sound a little macabre, this example, but it's just, It's kind of how I imagine it, right? If you don't take the risk
Yeah,
of navigating the road, you will forever remain on the side of the street that you're on, looking across and yearning and wondering what if.
yeah.
Um,
And I've seen a lot of that with colleagues and so on. And they sometimes stay, and I think the longer you stay in a place where you don't like it, but it's comfortable, you become so, it become negative. You become,
mhm.
you just, it's just a misery. And that's not me. And that's not me. My parents tell me I'm a rolling stone, and people tell me you don't settle, and it's
Right.
true.
Yeah.
I can't stay where it's not work. We have to work on it, or forget it. You
Right.
know, I'm not going to stay and and just be on the fence, you know.
And you mentioned the word journey. I mean, like 3 or 4 times now, because it is, you might make a decision in an instant, but you don't get the result immediately, right? It's really a lifelong journey, correct?
Absolutely. Yep. Yes, it is.
So you step out there, you expose yourself, you do all the hard work that you need to do to get to that next level, and you get there. But I have to imagine that you still bring some insecurities with you. You're not so sure how you fit in because you're in front of the room, but you're still stuttering, right? Or
Yeah.
maybe something else. I'm a Jamaican who turned up um, to bobsled, right? And it's like, how does that work? Um, do you ever feel like you're experiencing what I call the imposter syndrome? And if so, how do you
Yeah.
deal with that?
Sure. Of course. Of course. I think it gets to you every so often. About 4 years ago, when I started to really push my brand publicly, I never did video. And that was the little bit of insecurity that the stutter is not completely gone. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put out video and put it on public platforms and have people critique it and take it apart and laugh at it. And so I had I had imposter syndrome,
Right.
and I really didn't, you know, as a marketing person, I worked in many firms, I worked regionally, I worked internationally, but there was a fear of actually putting myself out there very publicly.
Right.
So it comes up every so often, and you have to push past it. I don't think it goes away. Maybe some persons might say it gets easier, but it rears its ugly head every so often, and you have to, and that becomes a new challenge. You
Yeah.
know, so for me, getting on video and doing video, and talking about that field of marketing also wasn't easy just about 3 4 years ago. So
Mm-hmm. So here we go again. You're absolutely right. It's a journey. It's going to the next level. First, you had to figure out how you could repeat some lines on stage in front of some people. Then you had to figure out how you're going to um, deliver a lecture, perhaps in front of a larger group, but certainly a longer time speaking.
yeah.
So that's you, again, pushing yourself out of the comfort zone and taking yourself to the next level. And then here you are as a marketing expert, and I guess you are also advising your clients to do video, but yet you have
Exactly.
none, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So
So,
I can't
so,
be a
so
hypocrite.
yeah, exactly. I was supposed to say you have to be congruent, right? If you're
Yeah.
advising your clients to do this, then it's something that you have to do. And I think that's such a, it's one of my watchwords as a speaker as well, that if I'm challenging people to keep on pushing, I have
Yeah.
to be congruent, and it may um, not be the most comfortable. Like, you'd be surprised that as a speaker, I've spoken to thousands, 14, 15,000 people. And then it felt really weird when I stood in my office in front of a camera to speak to a camera.
Yeah.
right? It's like, how, um, but you're right. You always, it's a journey. You always have to kind of be pushing yourself and exposing yourself. Be willing to take the criticisms.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
because there you have it on video, so people can see.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So,
And the videos 4 years ago were not as good as they are now.
right,
So yeah, but it's part of the journey. And so I've accepted the fact that this is what I've been dealt with. This is my hand.
mm-hmm.
And this is what I have to go forward with. And so it's not something, the embarrassment and the shame that was attached at 5 and 6, 12, where I just wanted to, I don't want to have to deal with it.
Yeah,
Now it's something that I've accepted and something that I use, when I speak to persons, because this is me. This is part of me. I can't be embarrassed about it, and I have to use it to my benefit, actually. Yeah.
right. So is that the key then to people, young people especially,
Yeah.
who stutter, but others who may have other impediments, whatever it is. It could be that you feel like you're born on the wrong side of the tracks, as it were, to kind of embrace uh,
Yes.
that part of your story and use it, and in that way be able to use it as a strength and leverage as opposed to something that beats you down.
Yes, because I think 3 to 4 years ago, perhaps in my mind, I still was embarrassed by it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason why I didn't want to do the video, because I felt exposed. And then I said, hey, no, this is part. You have to be able to embrace it. You have to be able to be okay with you, the good and the bad,
Right.
and so that switched for me, and therefore I was able to say, listen, this is something that might be helpful to other people, um, and so use it in that way, and it's a part of my journey. It's a personal journey. It's something I feel proud of now,
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen other persons who, they reach out and they ask me, well, how do you do it, and how did you do, and I realized that I was once there,
Right. Right.
and
So now
and
you
you
get to become an
yeah,
inspiration for others.
yeah, absolutely.
So you work across all these different industries, education, advertising, construction, and so on. Now you're, as a marketer, how do you think those experiences have influenced or help you to be a better consultant marketer for your clients?
The experience is key. I mean, I've done a lot academically, but the experience is key, and the diverse experience, the challenges both personally and professionally, is what really helps each client.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always glad to work with clients. I'm always glad to work with challenging ones at times, because there is a lesson there. And that lesson is for the next client I get, which is, I saw this occur in this firm, and maybe these are things that you can do to bring synergy or to help you move in a particular market space, and that type of thing. So I think of my life, the aggregate of the learning is what helps me to be um, good at what I do.
Indeed. I speak all the time about the fact that keep on pushing is learning how to take your existing skills and experience and knowledge and apply it to a new environment, right?
Yeah.
To create and take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves. So I know that when you work with a client, you're a digital marketing strategist, but you take a kind of a holistic approach. Talk to us a little bit about that, Debbie.
Yeah, I've won um in my last few corporate jobs, a combination of sales and marketing. That was my hat.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at a lot of persons on, let's say, LinkedIn or Facebook, they tend to be in silos where they're strongly sales oriented, or they're marketing, or they're branding specifically. And I married the two because I don't think that you can do one without the other. In order for your business to grow and for it to be to kind of break barriers, you need what I talk about, which is a selling strategy, a marketing strategy, and an overall branding approach. And that's how that's how I take everything. It's much more holistic. It's much more, it's well rounded.
Mm-hmm.
And clients see results in that way. And I tend to approach clients where I have seen some sort of deficiency in those areas, and that's how I offer, the help and advice.
Indeed, indeed. So a holistic approach sounds like, certainly your experiences in your early years is truly informing that and helping you to bring this wealth of knowledge and experience to your clients. Um, how does someone find? I know now that you're not just working with clients across the Caribbean, but globally, which
Yeah.
is again a next level. How do they find you, Debbie?
Okay, I have a website, so they could find me on www.debbiejollie.com. And I am also on quite a bit of social media platforms, but my most used ones are LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And you just search Debbie Jollie, and you'll find me. At times you'll see the stammering communicator, and you just click right there.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, you can't miss me.
All right, guys. So if you want to benefit from the tremendous experience and insight that the stammering communicator can offer to you, it's www.debbiejollie.com, or of course on LinkedIn and Instagram, on Facebook. Debbie, this has been a treat. Thank you so much for spending time with us. I think you're really demonstrating, showing us that, taking away the excuses that many of us have, that we start, behind the eight ball, so to speak, and we feel like life has dealt us a bad hand. You're showing us that you can take the hand that life has dealt you and still play a successful game. Thank you for that example. Thank you for coming on. Keep on pushing.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You are an inspiration too, so I'm very glad to be a part of this Caribbean community.
It's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So guys, if you enjoy this, please make sure that you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but also, just as importantly, make sure that you share this. Share this with your friends, because I think this is, really important information that all of us can benefit from. So until we connect next time, as always, keep on pushing. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click on that subscribe button and hit that bell. You'll get a notification every time we post a new video. And don't forget, share it with your friends, man. They want to be inspired as well, right? So share it. Don't keep it. And before you go on to the next video, visit my website, www.devonharris.com. Keep on pushing.